What's going on, guys? It's Lou Balls. It's Lou Balls.
What's up, Lou Balls?
One year later, what have I been up to? How many snakes have I cooked? And yeah, let's get into it. So about a year ago, April 23rd, 2018 actually, I got my first ball python. This guy right here was given to me by a friend of mine at the time. I have a video just for him called Who is Zazu? One of my first videos that I did, probably like my third video. So go check that out if you haven't. That's pretty cool. It tells a story about how I got into ball pythons in the first place. But this boy right here is Zazu, my lesser male, and he was a tiny little thing when I first got him, and over 1,000 grams later, he is still one of the coolest ones I have. And I used to not trust him as much because when I first got him, he had a little bit of attitude, and he still really does, but he has a great feeding response, and he gives me no issues aside from the occasional I want to go see my girlfriend. I'm not in the mood to eat a rat right now. But this right here is my first guy, and he's awesome. Very, very awesome. But yeah, he's doing really, really good. I got him in my rack. He was in a tank before, and he was just really, really agitated all the time. Doing so much better. Anyway, this guy is number one, meaning the first one I ever got. So, is the guy that started it all. For me, at least. About a month later, she gave me 3 more animals. One of them is a children's python, Hayes, currently in my quarantine area just because she hasn't eaten in a while, and I put her in a different situation to see if maybe she does a little bit better. But along with that, I got Ace here, my pastel. Not looking his best because he's currently going into shed, so he's kind of dark, but he's always still a little curious to see what's going on. Ace here is another one. He's a little bit over 2 years old probably. And here is Autumn, who's been featured in a few of my videos, especially one recently. The pastel and a killer bee fire. The very next ones that I got from the same person, but this is kind of where my collection started growing and where my addiction, if you will, started. After this, I really couldn't hold myself. I just kind of had to figure it out. Once I had everything settled in, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do next. So, but these guys are my original clan, my original 3. And a children's python. Now after that, I decided to go to Repticon 2 months later in July, and I found my absolute favorite morph, which is a banana. Always wanted one, and I found him for a really good deal from a really good producer. So I got one of these. He's definitely the most beautiful one that I have, in my opinion, only because, man, look at these things. They're so cool. Now, in that same July weekend for Repticon, I got Dipper the banana. I also got this beautiful het pied female. See her tracks on the bottom if she lets me show. There he goes. This girl right here definitely grown a lot with me. She was really, really shy, but Banana's Dipper, this is Sunny, and when I first got her, she had a cool little belly. All of these ball pythons have their own videos. Go check them out, run through my list. But yeah, I got him, I got her, and I got also this big lesser girl Tilly here to go with my Zazu, maybe to make some bells, but lesser always goes good in any collection. At least I believe. I've seen the combos and some really cool things come out of lesser combos. But they also make white snakes, which aside from the banana, I also love. The het pied, also love. So those are all definitely projects that I started believing in and started putting myself in. So that weekend, I got those two and her as well. She is currently trying to tell me that she wants to build follicles and maybe see her boyfriend every once in a while. The other one I got is a Harlequin female that I think is ovulating right now because she has this big lump. I can see the baby bump. I'm not really trying to bother her right now. I'll show you some pictures. But she's a giant girl. She's about 2,500 grams. When I first got her, she was somewhere around 1,300 grams. So a lot has changed. A lot has changed. They're definitely thriving. They're definitely doing good. I've learned a lot from every single one of them. They all have different personalities. A lot of people don't really believe that, but they really do. Either way, my collection obviously has grown a lot from the one ball python that I got. And it's never one or two. It's always 1, 3, 7, 20, you know? So, after those, I did something really weird online. Got into a whole community, the genetic hunters, and God knows everybody else that's in it. Shout out to everybody else. If it wasn't for them, you guys definitely taught me a lot. Wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have been able to talk to people as much as I do with you guys. Anyway, next thing I did was accidentally I went on and checked out an auction, YouTube auction, and I found something really, really cool, and I figured, hey, I wonder if bidding on something would get me anything. And I saw this guy right here. Now I was looking for females at the time because I wanted to be more female heavy than male heavy, but I threw a bid on this guy. He's a pastel yellow belly. I think he's really cool looking. His black and yellows are amazing. But he's grown so much, a lot. His name is Tang, pastel yellow belly. I bid on him and I won. Freaking coolest thing ever. Like a week later, I got a snake in the mail. I did an unboxing. That was the actual reason why I did my first video. So, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. This guy has definitely been a really cool part of my collection. He's very, very curious, and he eats very well. He's never missed a meal. Never. Not even when he was in shed. I think maybe he missed a meal in shed one time, but amazing. He's about maybe 5.5, maybe 600 grams right now. He's doing really, really well, and he's gonna have plenty of work in future projects. But yeah, this is Tang. So after I got Tang, I took a break. I figured, let me figure out how I got things going on. I got ball pythons growing from my smaller rack to my bigger rack. I'm also really learning things and how everything was set up. So I figured I'd start doing some upgrading. I'd start getting some of my juveniles out of their tubs into a bigger tub setup. And so it took me a little bit of time to actually get in. I wasn't really planning on getting anything else. But once I got everything settled and I figured I'd get a little bit comfortable, I started to look into what my future projects might be. Like I said, the Harlequin, I started breeding her. She took a very long time to actually do anything. She was locking up perfectly, but for some reason she just wasn't showing signs. She was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And honestly, I didn't know what I was looking for. What an ovulation really looked like. I just know every time I looked at her, she was so much bigger and I thought it was an ovulation. And then she shed and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have snakes in 60 days. But that doesn't really work like that. It was something specific I was looking for. I was palpating her and I could feel the lumps in her belly. But I'm not sure if at some point she decided to regress and then started back up again. All I know is right now she has a welt in the middle of her body. Obviously, I know that is finally an ovulation, and she's also really super bright. Her colors are amazing. Kind of looks like she almost looks hypo sometimes, but she definitely looks a lot brighter than she did when I first got her. But trying to figure out breeding and trying to figure out trying to get their temperatures dialed in and make sure they're fine all across the board. I started looking into more stuff, and so I started getting curious what different genes did, what projects I wanted to jump into. Did I want, the long project of a recessive? Did I want something that was a little bit more expensive that maybe would bring in a little bit more value as I progressed early? And I just kind of want to start with, base genes so I can learn what I'm looking for. So I didn't have to worry about, hey, is this a possible this? Is this possible this? I see a lot of people doing that, and I personally don't want to get, into something that I don't understand. So I started getting stuff that I really, really like. But the next project that I decided that I wanted to look at, I was talking to somebody on Facebook, which Facebook is a 50-50 thing. Sometimes you get really, really cool people. Sometimes you get the worst people in the world. And I've definitely gotten a little bit of both. I did a video about that. I got shredded. And by the way, how many snakes did I cook? I still have my whole collection. That's not an achievement. It's not an accomplishment. I figured out what I was doing. I jumped into it. It wasn't something that I planned. Somebody gave me some snakes and said, hey, I know you can do better than I can, and I can't do it right now. Please take care of them for me. And I did. They're doing amazing. They're doing wonderful. If for some reason you ever watch my videos, thank you. You got my start. You got me jumped forward. And I know we don't talk and stuff anymore, but thank you very much. Anyway, like I said, I started looking online, and I started talking to this dude, and the communication wasn't the best. I'm not going to sit here and blast him out and make him look like a bad guy, but he's a wholesaler, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's an aquatics wholesaler, mostly. Probably does some ball pythons on the side. Either way, I started talking to him about some animals that he had, and I was getting very curious. So we had a little bit of conversation real quick. There was a moment where we stopped talking, and I didn't really know whether it was going to go down or not. But somewhere around April, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was April or February. Somewhere in between February and April. I decided to pull the trigger on this. And so I got 3 more snakes in the mail. So while I was looking, I was thinking, hey, I want to get a het pied male. I already have a het pied female. And preferably male with another gene in it so that I can plug them into something else if that's what I want to do. So I saw this guy from him. This is a het pied orange dream male. Beautiful little guy. He looks a lot better in person than I thought he actually did in the pictures. But I figured I'd take a chance. I've never dealt with Orange Dream. I've always wanted to work with Orange Dream. The name is really, really cool, but I've seen what the Super Orange Dreams do. I've seen what they do in combos, and I think Orange Dream would be an amazing thing to add into my collection over time. And so I did it. I got a really good price on him. He's really cool looking, and he's actually a really handsome little fella here. But he's also growing really, really fast. He was about half this size when I first got him. And now, another one. He hasn't missed a meal. He eats every time I show him something. So, he's doing really, really well. This guy's name is Squanchy. I don't know if you guys watch Rick and Morty, but Squanchy is a little crazy orange cat. I just thought it'd be a really cool name. Alright, so this is one of 3 that I decided to get from this dude. So I got the Orange Dream het pied male, and I was also looking into another weird project that nobody really messes with, And I will be doing a video on her alone, mainly because somebody had brought something up online that I kind of want to touch up on, and I'm not sure if anybody notices this, but either way, this is a Hidden Gene Wolma, pretty little female. Hidden Gene Wolma is something that not a lot of people really mess with, but supposedly they show some wobble. She shows nothing, not a cocked head, not a stare off into space, nothing. She's amazing. But I thought it was a really pretty project, and I have lesser in my projects, so I was also thinking maybe some Soul Sucker stuff. I know Nerd, Kevin McCurley, does a lot of stuff with Hidden Gene Wolma and Wolma. A lot of people, I'm starting to see more Wolma stuff pop up, a few more Hidden Gene Wolma stuff pop up, but nothing, it's not even being explored properly. So I figured I would jump into the project because I really like the animals and I like the way the pattern works with other morphs. So we'll see what happens. But this is Katara, a Hidden Gene Wolma female. And last but definitely not least, the third one that I got from him is this very energetic Enchi Hypo. Enchi is a really cool brightening gene that I think would go really, really well in almost anything. And I say almost because I have no idea the kind of stuff that I could produce or the kind of potential that it can, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it in everything and it looks amazing. On top of that, she is a Hypo. Hypo is a great project to be in. Hypo and anything looks awesome. And as you could see, Enchi Hypo and her color is freaking amazing. One of the coolest things that I have. And I know I have favoritism towards banana, but this one right here is probably a very close second, if not tied, for the most beautiful thing I have in my collection. Just because these colors are amazing. Some of it almost looks green, like a very, very light, like an olive green. But she has these yellows coming up off her belly, some oranges in here. Just freaking amazing. If you guys have hypos, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But I saw her in a picture, and I almost got one from Palumbo's Python, but I think it was going to be a leopard hypo. Anyway, this is the long game, you know? Hypo with anything in my collection. Of course, that's going to be at least a 3-year project off the bat, even if it's just a codon. On top of that, I might throw her with something from my Pied collection for my Pied project, and so that's a whole another 3 years at least. So it's definitely a long game. But I'm not here for the money. I'm here for the curiosity, and because I love these freaking things. Look at them; they're amazing, amazing. So, like I said, a year later, this is what I'm doing. All right, I got Leonard, my bearded dragon over there, in twice the size of a tank enclosure that I had him in before. I had a tarantula over here that's still doing amazing. Only shed once. Those things are weird. Anyway, I upgraded a rack. I upgraded 2 racks actually. I have a quarantine rack in my room, and that's where I have Hayes, my children's python. So I went from 0 ball pythons to 1 ball python to 3 ball pythons to 7 ball pythons to 11 ball pythons. Wait, to 8 ball pythons, then 11 ball pythons. Yeah. But yeah, they're all doing amazing. It gives me something to do. amazing. I love taking care of these animals. They're so awesome. I can hang out with them. Anytime I go out in public, people freak out in the best ways. It gives me a chance, opportunity to educate some of these kids and some of these adults as to what these things are. They're not evil. They're not disgusting. These things are beautiful. And it can only get better from here. So, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.